Adam adjusted his cufflinks, staring at his reflection. A successful businessman, a devoted husband, at least, that's what the world saw. Inside, he carried secrets, desires he buried deep. Tonight, the family gathered, an evening meant to be ordinary. It was anything but. Sophia, his wife, greeted guests with a warm smile. She was everything a man could want, loyal, beautiful, trusting. Too trusting. She kissed Adam's cheek, unaware of the storm brewing beneath his skin. Lena, his younger sister, arrived next, her laughter filling the room. Carefree, rebellious, always pushing limits. Adam noticed the way she glanced at Daniel, her fiancé, but there was something off. A flicker of something unspoken between them. Emma, his mother, entered gracefully, wearing elegance like armor. Years of discipline masked any emotions she didn't want seen. She hugged Adam, holding him a moment too long, whispering, "We must talk later." Her tone sent a chill through him. Then, Victoria appeared. A name he hadn't spoken in years. A ghost of past sins. She moved like a shadow, her presence electrifying. Their eyes met, and in that instant, the room faded. He hadn't seen her in years, yet it felt like yesterday. Sophia's voice pulled him back. "Adam, isn't this a surprise?" She gestured toward Victoria. "She's an old friend of yours." He nodded, forcing a polite smile. "Yes. It's been a long time." Victoria tilted her head, lips curving slightly. "Too long." Daniel, watching from the corner, smirked. He enjoyed this, watching, analyzing. He was always one step ahead. Dinner was served, but no one really ate. Words were spoken, but the air was thick with unspoken truths. Emma and Daniel exchanged brief glances, careful but noticeable. Lena's hand brushed Daniel's under the table, subtle yet deliberate. Adam caught it, his jaw tightening. Victoria leaned in. "Still playing the devoted husband?" she whispered. His pulse quickened. "What are you doing here?" She took a sip of wine. "Just visiting." Lena excused herself. Daniel followed soon after. Emma's gaze flickered toward the door. Adam noticed. Sophia didn't. "Tell me, Adam," Victoria mused. "Have you missed me?" He clenched his fists under the table. "You shouldn't have come." A soft laugh. "That's not an answer." Emma cleared her throat. "I think it's time we—" A loud vibration cut through the tension. A phone left unattended, screen glowing with a name. Sophia frowned. "Whose phone is that?" Silence. A single moment stretched unbearably long. Daniel exhaled slowly. "I think we all have things to discuss." A dangerous game had begun. Adam stood in the dimly lit hallway, his pulse unsteady. Victoria was back, and with her, the past he had buried. He should walk away. Instead, he followed her. Behind closed doors, she leaned against the wall, eyes gleaming with amusement. Still as conflicted as ever. He exhaled sharply. "Why are you here?" She stepped closer. "Because unfinished business has a way of catching up." He should have left. He didn't. Her lips met his, reigniting something dangerous. The years apart meant nothing. In that moment, loyalty shattered. Elsewhere, Lena pressed against Daniel's chest, breathless. "We shouldn't," she whispered, but there was no hesitation in her movements. Daniel smirked. "But you don't want to stop, do you?" She shook her head. This was wrong. But the thrill drowned out reason. Emma sat alone, scrolling through her phone, a message waiting to be sent. "Tonight?" Her fingers hovered. A reply. "Of course. Same place." She smiled, slipping her phone away. Adam ran a hand through his hair, adjusting his tie. "This never happened." Victoria laughed softly. "Lying to yourself again?" He walked away without answering, but guilt already burned inside him. Lena straightened her dress, checking the hallway before stepping out. She froze. Emma stood there, watching. A moment of silence. Then a knowing look. No words were exchanged, but understanding passed between them. Emma's phone vibrated. She glanced at the name, Daniel. She smirked. "Be careful, dear. Some men have a habit of spreading their attention too thin." Lena's stomach twisted. What do you mean? Emma walked away, without explaining. Sophia sat alone in the living room, sipping wine. Adam entered, pressing a kiss to her forehead. She smiled, eyes full of trust. Everything okay? She asked. Of course, he lied. Upstairs, Emma stepped into a hotel room. Daniel was waiting.
He grinned.
You're late. She locked the door. I'm here now. Victoria stood outside, watching the street below. A quiet chuckle escaped her lips. Secrets never stayed buried for long. Sophia traced the rim of her wineglass, staring at Adam's reflection in the mirror. His tie was loosened, his posture tense. Something was off. You've been distant lately, she said softly. He forced a smile. Work's been hectic. A simple excuse. She didn't press further, but doubt crept in. Lena sat on her bed, replaying Emma's words. Some men have a habit of spreading their attention too thin. What did she mean? She grabbed her phone, typing Daniel's name. His last message was hours ago. Her heart pounded. Where are you? No response. Emma adjusted her dress in the dimly lit hotel room. Daniel sat on the edge of the bed, buttoning his shirt. You're quiet, he observed. She smirked. Just thinking. His phone buzzed. Lena. He turned it face down, ignoring it. Emma's gaze lingered. You're playing a dangerous game, Daniel. He chuckled. Aren't we all? Lena stared at her screen, frustration building. She grabbed her keys and walked out. Victoria leaned against the bar, watching Adam from across the room. He felt her gaze before he even turned. She lifted her glass. We keep running into each other. He exhaled. This isn't a coincidence, is it? A slow smile. Nothing ever is. Sophia sat at Adam's desk, fingers hovering over his laptop. She hesitated, then opened it. His email loaded. Nothing unusual. Then a folder caught her eye, hidden, tucked away. Victoria. She clicked. Dozens of emails, old messages, familiar words. I miss you. I still think about that night. Her breath caught. A message from yesterday.
Meet me.
One last time. Sophia's hands trembled. Lena arrived at Daniel's apartment, knocking twice. No answer. She tried the handle. Unlocked. She stepped inside, stomach twisting. The air felt wrong. A scent she recognized but didn't want to admit. Perfume. Familiar, expensive. The bedroom door was slightly open. Voices. A woman laughing. Her heart stopped. She pushed the door open. Emma sat on the bed, wrapped in a sheet. Daniel stood nearby, frozen. Silence crashed over them. Emma smirked. Well, this is awkward. Lena's vision blurred. You. Daniel sighed, running a hand through his hair. Lena, listen. She turned and ran. Adam pulled away from Victoria, breath uneven. I can't do this. She tilted her head. You already did. Sophia stared at the screen, betrayal sinking in. Lena ran into the cold night, gasping for air. Emma lay back on the bed, satisfied. Well, that was fun. Secrets were no longer secrets. The facade was cracking. Sophia sat at the dining table, waiting. The room was silent, the kind that came before a storm. The messages were still open on Adam's laptop. His lies, his betrayal, undeniable now. Adam walked in, pausing when he saw her expression. What's wrong? She turned the screen toward him. You tell me. His stomach dropped. There was no way out of this. Lena stood outside, gripping her phone. Her hands were cold, her mind racing. She had been blind. Stupid. A message from Daniel popped up. Lena, let's talk. Her fingers hovered before deleting it. Emma walked into the house, unfazed. She poured herself a drink, settling onto the couch. Lena stormed in, voice shaking. How long? Emma sipped her wine. Does it matter? Lena's face twisted in disgust. You're my mother. Emma sighed. And yet, we both made the same mistake. Daniel arrived, but Lena was already walking away. Lena, wait. She didn't. Adam rubbed his face, exhaling. Sophia, No, she cut in. No excuses. No lies. He swallowed hard. I love you. She let out a bitter laugh. Love. She gestured at the messages. Was it love when you begged for another night? When you told her you missed her? Silence. I trusted you, she whispered. I built my life around you. Adam reached for her, but she pulled back. Don't. Victoria stood in the doorway, arms crossed. Looks like you have some explaining to do. Sophia stared at her, eyes cold. You can have him. Victoria raised an eyebrow. Oh, I don't want him. I just wanted to see how far he'd fall. Adam's blood ran cold. You set this up. She smiled. Did I? Lena packed a bag, wiping away angry tears. Daniel knocked once. I never meant to hurt you, he said. She looked at him, expression unreadable. You were never mine to lose. Emma watched from the staircase, unreadable. Sophia grabbed her keys, pausing. This is over, Adam. His heart pounded. Please. She shook her head. You made your choice. Now live with it. The door closed behind her. Emma finished her drink, setting the glass down. Well, that was dramatic. Victoria smirked. It always is. Lena walked into the night, head high. She wouldn't look back. Adam sat alone, staring at the wreckage. In the end, there were no winners. Only broken pieces.